All right, with the cows panting like that, I'm gonna go hit them with some water, because that is way too much stress. If they're panting in the middle of a day, that's not good. All right, so I gotta get this hose going and maybe hit them with some water. Not that I need any more water in that barn, but here's what we're gonna do. Came up to make note on the cows' SmaXtec charts that they came up panting, because because they've been down the hill, it hasn't been sinking as often, so their information is about an hour out of date. So I expect in the next half hour or so, now that they're up here and the signal is being read next to the sensor, I'll see a lot of alerts of some kind, high increased activity alerts and things like that, because some of them literally came charging up the hill, which was not probably the best thing to do on a hot day like this. And then I was up here, I missed it, somebody was honking. I got nervous that Allison had left and either somebody hit her or was voicing some kind of concern as she pulled out, or that the heifers had jumped the fence and followed her out into the road or something, because normally we don't get that level of honking, prolonged, someone laying on their horn. I think it was just somebody being an asshole passing the farm, decided to honk, scare the livestock. There's goats grazing on the other side from our friends' homestead over there, and we've got our heifers right there where people can see them, and people are real jerks a lot of the time. All right, everybody's panting. This ain't good. Bramble has shade if you just lay in it. All right, I did try to spray down the cows, but that wasn't, they weren't having that. So anyway, I'm gonna get this silage up to the heifers and come back and finish clearing this and get on with my day, because if the heifers are gonna be up, or rather, if the cows are gonna be up here and not down eating,
should be,
then they need to eat something. So I gotta get them some silage, fresh. None of this garbage. Happy to notice that the calves are in the shade just past noon, so that's good. That maple is doing what I planned it to do, is keeping the sun off the container there. It'll help when the other container's in and we can eventually get a roof on everything. But for now, unfortunately, that container is in full sun until noon at the moment. I'm still trying to come up with a plan for the late summer. I don't know. I mean, if it's 80 already, I mean, that's late June temperature around here. So hopefully that's not going to be a current thing, and we're just going to have a normal, but who knows what that means. Anyway, I have swapped the grapple for the forks, because now I've got to try and find a way to get in and grab a bale. I can't go through the heifer pasture because it is way too wet, so any equipment I brought in there would probably get stuck. It's up to my ankles when I wade in there in the wettest parts that I'd have to drive through. So not going to do that. I can't get the tractor and the tractor and the grapple won't reach over the fence anymore. I got the only two bales I could get that way. I could bring the tractor in with the grapple the way I'm going, I think. But the problem is, what's the problem with that? It's the horse-drawn equipment is in the way. Now I may have to move the horse-drawn equipment even with the skid steer. I need to put it somewhere out of the way where it isn't going to get stolen for scrap metal, which will happen if it's just parked near the road. It will disappear unless it's chained or cemented in place. I have been trying to sell it. We would love for somebody in the Amish community or somebody who would use it to buy it, because I used it. I mean, I collected it for spare parts, and I bought, at the time, 15 years ago, whenever it was, I bought nice functional horse-drawn stuff and then repaired it and made it better so I could use it for growing stuff. Now that we don't have horses and I don't intend on doing that again, I should just get rid of it. It does make kind of a pleasant museum. So if I can find a place that's out of the way that doesn't take up any valuable land, I may do that. Just keep them ornamental. Plenty of people have ornamental equipment around their places, but it seems kind of a waste if someone could use it. Okay, I didn't want to say before I was done with it, but that went well. The low ground pressure of the skid steer meant that even in the wettest area, I made some tracks, but I didn't really sink in or churn up anything. I guess there's a bit of mud showing there, but I was going to let the heifers in the next section where the horse-drawn equipment is next, but the grass isn't really that strong there. So I may just, well, all right, so I guess what I'll do is, oh, I'm on the wrong side of the fence, idiot. Okay, that's flipped. I guess what I can do is put the heifers in just temporarily, just move them quickly through this transition section between the fields. And then when I get, then they can graze off the orchard, which has really some nice, really tall lush, a mixture of really tall lush grass and a mixture of grass that's too short because it was overgrazed last fall. I want to overseed the orchard with millet. I want to overseed a lot with millet. But the grass out here is growing. Fortunately, the taller, it's a little bit of a problem with a mixed species sward like ours. The orchard grass, the meadow fescue, and the tall fescue tend to be clumping grasses, which means they really don't want to be grazed lower than 4 inches because that tuft that appears. But then we've got a lot of timothy and ryegrass and, unfortunately, Kentucky bluegrass, and that can be grazed right down to the ground. And it's a little slower to come back than the taller grasses, which already have a 4-inch head start on it, basically. So we've got a very inconsistent, coming into first graze, very inconsistent sward. So it's always a little hard to judge, which is why I really appreciate the grass measuring, because that's kind of an average of everything. Down below it's a little different. It's mostly orchard grass and meadow fescue, very little timothy, a lot of ryegrass, a lot of clover in both fields, white and red. All right, so I have managed to get a bale. I'm back at the feed slab. I got to brush down the feed slab with a broom, and hopefully this bale does not have a significant portion of mold in it, because I know I'm thinking that's what upset Joy's stomach. I think that was a lot of what her issue was. She ate something. All right, Bramble's got her tongue out and is panting, so we've got to bring her some more water. Maybe mist down the cows again. This weather is, yeah, I can't even say what this weather is. It's, I have never experienced this, and not in May. Not to go from frigid cold weather to immediately hot days. That is, it's a little dire. All right, let's get Bramble some water and get on with things. At least there is a slight breeze. See the trees blowing there. It is delicious. I will say. In the sun without that breeze is pretty brutal, but with that breeze, it's actually kind of nice. It's a beautiful day. There's just no complaining about this. If this were a day in July, late June, it would be amazing. But for it to be like this now, because remember, kids, grass, cool season perennial grasses stop growing over 80 degrees. What do we got today? We have an 80-degree plus day. And another one coming tomorrow. So that's just going to slow down grass growth at a time when it's been too cold for grass growth. Now, I will say that on a day like this, we're drying up the fields. And any growth that is occurring is soaking up that extra moisture. As the trees leaf out, they're pulling up a lot of, I mean, we're talking thousands of gallons coming up into a tree every day, going out and creating the leaves and then expiring out the leaves. That's what, not only do our trees our lungs, but they also create our temperate zones by soaking up rainfall in the roots, bringing it up, holding that moisture in the tree, and then expiring it through the leaves. So deforestation is one of the worst things we could be doing in climate change right now. But planting trees is another thing we should be doing, absolutely. And that's why I've been trying real hard in the silver pasture to keep as many trees as possible until I absolutely have to remove them for whatever reason. And then, we just added back, I don't know, would we buy 15? We haven't even talked about the fruit trees we planted. We went to a sale, mentioned this a few episodes ago, I guess. And we bought, what did we buy? 15, 20 fruit trees. They were out of peaches. We bought some plums, some pears, and some apples. And we bought some more high bush blueberries and some more grapes. Now we managed to get the fruit trees planted. And so that's all out front there. Now there had been, until we moved here, before we moved, like the year before they sold this place, they tore down a whole bunch of trees out front. Now some of that was to make way for a septic field. But, the trees that were out front that would create shade out there were all gone. So, and then they were replaced with there was some willow bush, big groups of willows that we actually, when we first moved here, totally got rid of because there were just a warren of skunks and rats and just all kinds of critters lived in there, and they were so overgrown and so non-productive. I don't even know why they were there anyway. We ended up wasting them. I don't know, it's about an acre worth of them anyway. So so shade up front there is a little limited, but we've been planting trees, useful trees, whenever we can. So we added back another 15 there, and eventually, if I can find a good source for honey locusts, which is a thornless locust, they're nitrogen-fixing trees. They produce a pod that's edible for cattle. The leaves are edible. So when there's a good enough source of honey locust, and I've got a plan for them, I'll probably imagine replanting some down in the forest to start repopulating for shade. I've also considered there's a wet spot in the field, in the big field. And we've talked about it with a couple of experts who said, just plant some trees and fence the cows out from them. And I'm thinking, big fields are hard to come by. If I needed to, I could go out and cut that field today for silage and bale it and have a pretty decent harvest for first cut. Well, my cows would be, left wanting because I don't think there's enough grass in the forest at the moment. Now, eventually this could happen. There will be, once everything's improved and growing well and I get that new section planted, there should be about a 30-day grazing window in the forest, which meant at this time of year I could cut that field if it was dry enough, bale it for silage, and then 21 days basically later it could be grazed because that's how fast the grass regrows, theoretically. Would I want to risk that? Might risk half of the field. But anyway, I digress. Let's get this cow watered and get this silage fed out. Damn it. Another bale with a significant level of mold, and it's these little spots like that here and here that ruin that entire section because of the kind of mold it is. And I don't understand why it is so deep in these bales. Now maybe it's because I don't know. I can't speculate. I don't know how he made these bales. I don't know. They're not packed tight as our bales, so there's a certain amount of oxygen that gets in, which will cause that. But was it because it was harvested and wrapped too dry? Am I going to be faced with the same thing with all my hay bales over in Thomaston? Yeah, this is bad. And I've got 9 more bales like this. So I have to hunt through to find stuff that isn't moldy to feed the cows. They're not, they're just obviously not going for it. So that means they're going to eat this, but they're going to eat it reluctantly. I don't know what happened between the last of the good bales I fed out and now, what's this, the third or fourth of these moldy bales that I'm fighting through. And that just means it just adds to my workload. It just really you think, if I was feeding a mixed ration, I couldn't. I literally couldn't, because it would take so long to pick through the moldy bits, just like I'm doing, but then to throw it into a mixer. Normally you throw the whole bale in and it grinds it up. Well, you could do that, but you'd have to add a heck of a lot of toxin binder, and that's just wrong. So, yeah, I'm just going to have to pick through this, and I'm going to have a whole bunch more waste. Really just want to send the... That's the other thing, the mold. Not good. Yeah, I just want to be able to graze the cows like I used to, Quite honestly, I need some hay. I'm going to have to go to Thomaston and orchestrate getting that hay. Well, I did manage to pick my way in and find some better quality stuff, but that still means I'm probably going to throw about a quarter of this bale away. Damn expensive fertilizer. So I'm going to have to go to Thomaston and get that hay. There's kind of no doubt about it. This is all no good. Now I guess I could stop kvetching. I can feed this bale, the rest of this bale, to the heifers. They can pick through it. They're not lactating. Their body isn't into the stress of having a calf and producing milk, so they can pick through and sort and eat around the mold and reject it. The cows, I just don't like exposing them to the molds. They can pick through too, it's just not good for them. So, certainly not when their bodies are under stress and heat. The heifers aren't even noticing the heat, and the calves, well, they're in the shade now, and this breeze is great. But yeah, so that sucks. Another dead bale. I'm really sick of buying feed from other people. It's one thing if I make a mistake, if I've done something wrong, I'm willing to eat it. But I paid a lot of money for all the forage I bought this year, and it's all proven to be some form of toxic or other, with a high percentage of waste. So I got to be able to produce our own stuff. About 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The sun is still hot. Allison's come back from her adventures and said it was 90 out. It is 90 out and about. Was not expecting that today. It got over 100 in Portland. She did pick up the piece of sailcloth. So we've got a proper awning type canvas from Gray Canvas Works, and our friend Anderson there made this up for us, so we appreciate that very much, Anderson. Thank you. And I'm going to figure out how to get this put up. Allison was thinking of going between the barn there and the building there and coming out this way. I had originally figured it coming out this way, but it does make it a little low on this end. Although if it was pulled tight, it wouldn't. I don't understand. It's long enough. We got it made longer than the tarps, which that one blew over. At least baby's in the shade. I'm gonna, before I mess with that, I'm gonna go down the hill. I've got to reset the gates. and go down the hill and give the cows a little bit of a bump of grass. They weren't out long enough. They're gonna be looking, if I go down the hill, they're gonna wonder what the hell. Cows spotted me as I went down the lane to reset the fencing, and they think I was gonna let them out. But really, I'm gonna keep them in just a little while longer until I can get them milked. Then I'll let them out, and they can be out all night. They can graze away when it's cool. Because, yeah, whatever that was today, not good. All those cows panting after a very short time outside. It's pretty cruel to go from, what was it, 56 a couple days ago, and yesterday was 70, 78, and today is over 90. And that is too much too soon. None of us have had a chance to acclimate. I'm down here checking out where the cows have been grazing and where I put them earlier today. Part of the reason they left is they pretty much ate everything. They did a pretty good job this morning cleaning it off. And I do see that this little patch right here, this little strip right here of ryegrass, got left a little too late. It's starting to head out, and they rejected it. And some of it, yeah, I mean, by the time it starts to show its flower, there's too much lignin in the stalk, and they weren't ready to eat it. So, yeah, that's missed. Now, if I were a smart man and I could do it, if I had better fencing, I would follow them and put the heifers in here for a day, and they'd clean up all the rest of this stuff because they don't care. They're not as fussy as the dairy cows. But I honestly don't think that I could reasonably get the heifers here and trust my temporary fencing to hold them. So, I may have to come down here and just hand, with a brush cutter, and just hand knock down some of these taller clumps, just so it keeps regenerating and growing. It's not a huge area, but I know this area was ahead of the big field, but if that's starting to happen here now, then it could be happening in the big field. So, yeah, it's this time of year. It's all or nothing. It goes from being 56 degrees and the grass isn't growing to be 90, and then everything starts to head out and get too stemmy. I just hope that down there we get shade before I need to start eating it off on hot days like today. All right, there we have it. A nice canvas tarp awning over this pen. I put it up temporarily because I'm gonna have to get in here to manipulate things, and we may have to change the pen around at some point. So we're gonna see if this works until Mother Nature tells me that it doesn't, with a couple of winds. It was really breezy here. There's a nice offshore breeze that we usually get in the afternoons here during the summer. And it just helped cool things down, even though in the bright sun it was quite warm. But just putting this up dropped the temperature in here tremendously. And there's also a little bit of shade there on the side because of the size of it and how I've got it configured. A little bit of shade on the side there. It does mean I'm gonna have to put a tub in here for water instead of the 5-gallon bucket. We weren't expecting Bramble to calve this early. We weren't expecting Bramble to be in here. So, yeah, we're just gonna make accommodations for the next few days. We want her to settle in, just, you know, because the cow's pelvis spreads quite wide when they're birthing such a horrendous monster like little jet. You want everything to settle back before they do a lot of motion and traveling, or they could go lame. They could get a leg paralysis of the nerve in the leg. So we just like to let them have a couple days in a pen, with or without their calf. Just depends on how they take to their calf. Bramble's doing a tremendous job. Jet's doing great. Wants to get up and suckle. So she seems like she's getting a full belly full from what we can tell. So that's great. She doesn't want the bottle, which is also great. All right, for better or worse, I've sent the cows out for the evening to graze down below. Going down there with gusto. It's, I don't know what time it is, 8 o'clock. Sun's gone down, so it's got to be after 8. Moon and 2 planets. Down first thing, checking on cows, and they all came up from grazing down below as if they knew that it's milking time very soon. So happy to say that my strategy seemed to have worked to put them out at night, and that they're all coming up now that it's getting warmer. It's already, 68, 70 degrees this morning at 6 o'clock. So just gonna keep them up here, close the gates so they can't go back down. I'm not gonna lock them in the barn just yet. Let these other ones come up in there. Apparently the cows didn't get the memo that it's milking time. They've all stayed down the hill and laid down. They looked at me when I called them half hour ago. Come on, cows, let's go! Milking! Up the hill, ladies! They could care less. They really just are like, hey, it's a cool morning. We're on grass, man. Fuck off. We don't need you. And then a shortcut across the blocked out yard. Come up behind them. Come on, ladies, let's go. Milking up the hill to the parlor. Let's go. Come on, Lottie, head up. You're the queen, Lots. Up the hill. Come on, ladies. Come on, Joy, let's go. All right, this will be fun. They clearly don't want to leave the pasture. What the heck were they doing all night? Joy, where are you going? Come on, get up the hill. I know you get milked last, but almost last. Get up the hill. Come on, you two. Up we go. Let's not make this a summertime pattern. Lana, yeah, you, come on. Joy, where do you think you're going? Oh, you confounded you-know-what. Ah, come on, get up the hill. Joy, up, go. Yeah, you. No, don't give me your heifer BS. Come on, up the hill. Joy, darling, good morning. Hi. Is that it? You just wanted a morning kiss, huh? Come on, let's go. Up the hill. Up the hill. Come on. Apparently Joy needed the personal touch. I'm not your concierge. Come on. Up the hill. Come on, let's go. Hey, yeah, up the hill. No, get up that hill. Well, Joy came up in the end, but after I got all the other cows in the barn, apparently she's having issues. She is low on the pecking order. Come on, darling. Get in the barn. And the other cow has picked on her, so she don't want to be with them. And she still ain't feeling right. All right, darling. Hey. You're a good girl. Libby, get the fuck. All right, well, cows got up in the end. Joy got up in the end. I'm sure my neighbors would prefer the gentle sound of cowbells coming up from the valley floor with me yodeling across the valley rather than my 10-minute non-stop tirade of profanity directed at very stubborn jerseys. Very stubborn jerseys. So something is definitely up with the cows this morning. Get them out on grass a few days, they think they can join the Rebel Alliance. I had to skip ahead because Trixie would not come near the parlor. She came in the barn, laid down. When I called her, she got up. I had to go out and get her, chased her around the barn a few times, opened the gate here, got her into the entryway, but then she doubled back and blew past me and epically wiped out on the floor. Oh, geez. Anyway, so I skipped ahead to her mother and the other cow, and now I'm doing cohort 3. So she's just not gonna get milk tonight this morning because I ain't got time. I ain't got patience for that shit.